Hey, this is Steve Good on the Coin Chat with Yuri Cataldo and a special guest, what's your name? Ed Lobbett from Acorn Collective. We're today, as normal, cutting through the noise and misinformation in cryptocurrency to tell you what really matters. And today what matters is what really goes on when an ICO does an ICO. So we brought Ed onto the show so we can just find out what's going on, how it works, and what it's like. Yeah. So Ed, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
So first and foremost, I just wanted to roll back a little bit for everybody that doesn't know about Acorn Collective. Just tell everybody a little bit about what it is you guys are doing, what the platform does, just so we get kind of a quick flavor of what it's all about.
Sure. So basically, it's a reward crowdfunding platform. So crowdfunding is becoming one of the most important ways of raising funds. I think VC hit something like 84 billion last year, crowdfunding up to 64 billion in all its different forms. People think you just like put a project on a platform and away it goes, and that's really not what happens. So there's a whole load of marketing. No, really not. No, there's a whole load of marketing that needs to happen next to it. People need to get ready and understand what they're going to do. So what we've done is to break it down into different components and really deliver on all of those components. So rather than just saying, well, go on the platform and best of luck, we're building marketing automation tooling so we can actually configure a funnel in the background that we know is going to work, then measure it so people can actually get the crowdfunders into their community and they can speak to them there. We've got a layer of a blockchain layer to help transparency and milestone deployment. So that means that you don't just give your money across and away it goes, see you in a year when you've built the shoe. It's actually, you can have community votes. You can actually pull in data from all kinds of places to see how people are deploying their funds. So it's basically success, access, and transparency. We want to be more accessible. We want to help people become more successful and do it in a more transparent way so backers feel less risk.
So I think one of the things that you and I talked about at one point was this kind of idea of it being like a Kickstarter or Indiegogo on steroids, because, for example, when you put your money into, and Yuri can comment on this because he's been through the, was it Indiegogo?
Indiegogo, yeah.
Experience. And it's sort of like an all or nothing, money comes in or money doesn't come in. But what you described for me is the fact that you actually distribute the funds in waves. So the project teams actually have to do the job and not just take the money and deliver nothing, which I love that idea. I think that's great. And you also mentioned to me something about having a marketplace to help the startups actually get access to services at discounts to kind of get their business running, right?
Yeah, that's right. So most people have pretty good ideas. So we'll take the shoe example. So you got this idea, a really good shoe, whatever it does, lights up when you step on it, whatever, or just some cool product. People don't necessarily, I don't know. I mean, all my shoes do that, but apparently that's a novelty.
All your shoes light up.
Oh, every single pair. So
I've got to ask a question. I'm going to divert completely now, Ed, and this is a random question, but you've got a shoe fetish. Do you have a sock fetish that goes with it?
I do have a sock subscription. I actually, it's called the London Sock Company. They will send you socks every month. You can buy.
I'm going to write this down. The London Sock Company. We're going to put that in the description down. So how does the London? We're going off piste here. What is the London Stock Company? Because Yuri and I love socks. So
we do.
I've really.
Yuri, you got a cool pair of socks on today.
I always have a cool pair of socks.
I don't have a cool pair of socks on.
Here we go. I'm showing my socks. Here we go. I'll get my foot up here.
Just look at that. Great.
Wait, Ed, what are those? London Sock Company fail, Ed.
It's not. I don't think these are actually.
He just goes and promotes a company and doesn't actually have the socks on his feet.
I know, but I wasn't prepared for the intro thing. It's basically my sister bought it for me over Christmas last year, and I continued.
The good thing is about Ed, he's not just a serious guy running a business. He can have a bit of fun too, even if he can't even wear the socks that he actually promotes. Forget the ICO.
That is true. That is absolutely true.
So how does the London Sock Company work? You get a pair of socks, like how often?
Yeah, so you can choose between 1 and 3 pairs a month, and it costs you whatever. You can go online and pick your sock schedule if you wish, or it's just like dealer's choice, and they send you socks.
Kind of like ordering a bottle or a case of wine, and you don't know what you're getting. It's just random.
This sort of idea.
In this case, you actually have to wear it
every day.
They send them internationally because maybe for Christmas I'm going to order Yuri some surprise socks, and he'll just have to put them on.
They absolutely must do. And so there are some absolute crackers in here as well. So yeah, I could thoroughly recommend the London Stock Company. Yeah.
Right, very good. Well, we'll have to give them a little wink and tell them they need to get onto the blockchain so we can track who's got which stocks.
Absolutely, yeah. So like an IoT blockchain gig.
Yeah. So going back to why we're really here. So
yes.
You did your pre-sale back in February. That sold out like really successfully.
Yeah.
Back when crypto was, great again.
Yeah.
And of course, we've been through a pretty horrible bear market for quite a while. So tell us what kind of happened during the Mainsail.
Yeah, so it's a short story, really, not a lot. So we based a lot of our metrics. So we are business guys anyway, if you like. So we've had other companies, so we kind of know what we're looking for. And the metrics we were looking for was, okay, so what's the kind of median contribution from the pre-sale? Then we had a look at, we based our email list numbers on that. So obviously you do digital out to email list build. You look at the engagement in the email. So we had a group of 5,000 or 6,000, I think, who were opening with like 60 or 70% open rates. So that's very engaged. We've done our homework really in that. We had a syndicate out in Vietnam as well, who were going to put another substantial amount in. And then we had the great Welton, which was probably another story, who was going to doing some cap raise for us and phoning us up every 10 minutes saying, yeah, we've got up to 5 million quid. So pressed the button on the Mainsail, and silence ensued. It was a calm, serene silence in the universe, not in the office. And effectively, the market had sort of slid underneath us, and we didn't manage to raise a hell of a lot more. So Welton, we can go through in a minute, and basically it turned out that he had said to us, plus 4 or 5 other businesses, I think we're up to about 7 now that we found or have found us. And his gig was that he was running around saying, yes, he'd raised money because he took a fair amount of money to go and do that. And long enough so you can validate other people, basically, or they get that second recommendation, and then eventually you'd figure out there was no money there.
So in essence, whilst you had some money coming in during the Mainsail, what you encountered was, like a lot of cryptos have encountered, which is, to put this in mild terms, there's a hell of a lot of scammers out there just playing games, making promises, overcommitting, charging fees.
Stupid thing. I mean, the thing that really got us,
to just remind people to be diligent about this, because as much as we try to avoid it, it's like it's everywhere, right?
100%, yeah. And I think we've been it's not fortunate. It's sort of planned in a way, in that this is not our first rodeo in any way, in business. So we've got lots of mechanisms to sort of mitigate that. So one of the things, for example, is we've got a good bunch of salespeople. We've got a lot of career sales guys that have moved into marketing. So we set up our own sales operation. We looked at other investors, actually got some really nice traction with that. In fact, to be honest, if the stupid thing with Dan is if he'd actually spent the time he was on the phone to me, bothering me, telling me how much money he hadn't raised, he could actually have gone out and raised some. And because it's not actually in private sale land, I think there's sort of reasonable amount of interest, particularly when you're looking at STOs and equity, which we are. So our job really after that became, okay, well, how far can we get with the pre-sale money? Pretty far, actually. And what else can we do to build a sustainable business? So the first thing we focused on really was to say, which components of our platform then can be revenue generating? So what can we do to increase runway? What can we do to create a company that effectively washes its face in terms of costs? So that gives us sort of infinite really runway then just to keep building out the platform, deliver to the people who bought the token, and then keep going for the usual SaaS metrics, which our platform, as it happens, lends itself to, which are things like reducing churn, acceleration of acquisition, monthly recurring revenue, those types of things that actually we can deliver. And because we've got a good analytics back end as part of our delivery, we can show that too. So we've got big data components that are sort of bolted in. So in a way, the Mainsail not going well, obviously we'd rather it had gone well. From our point of view, though, it just puts us back into a land that actually, frankly, I'm a bit more comfortable with. The CEO, Moritz, actually is more of a crypto coin kind of guy. He's done a lot of speculating, a lot of investing. I'm far more kind of a grinded out startup, expect a horror show kind of guy.
Well, it's very nice to have you here in the community. Yeah, absolutely.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So to be honest, it gets us onto ground that I'm certainly pretty comfortable with, which is just like building a platform and delivering value.
Managing risk, dealing with problems and challenges, and getting on with it, like what Yuri and I have dealt with in our previous careers too.
Absolutely right, and it's so nice as well, to be honest with you, to be in a position. So we've iterated through. So we launched an early MVP of the initial part of our platform bit that brings customers on, says, "Are you ready to go and do what you're going to do?" and starts preparing them to go and do it. So managing their marketing and iterating and measuring their marketing. So that part of the platform is what we're launching now. We're onboarding customers right now. So over the past few weeks, we've got it so that I reckon we've got a runway. We've got a pipeline of 500 prospects a month, with a relatively
amazing
small marketing budget. Yeah, so the marketing guys have done an absolutely stand-up job actually of just iterating every 3 to 5 days, changing to different conditions. So actually we've got a really nice pipeline now that we understand, and now it's making sure the delivery points are all correct. So we're just going through the metrics of that as you would in any other startup at the moment, and it's really nice to be talking to customers and helping problems again, rather than sitting in a kind of a talking about Dan Bloody Welton again and just wondering why he didn't choose to do his job.
And to focus on the positives, I mean, so one of the things that's obviously coming out of this is a true DApp, which we have seen very few of those, because most of them are, oh, look, I can send money from A to B. And you think, so I can do that with my wallet address on Etherscan, or not Etherscan, but my MetaMask or whatever, or my Ether wallet. But you're actually building a real platform, which is all about startups getting funding, using the platform, doing their fundraising, manage their funds, working in the marketplaces, and creating an ecosystem that allows a variety of people to actually download an app off the app stores and really use it, or use it on a PC or whatever, right? Is that?
Yeah, that's right. So we're building out, because there's quite a bit of logic that we're hooking to the back end of it. So actually we are going to develop an actual phone app, because we think it's probably a better interface, but the actual machinery. So we're building the engine first, which is going to be web accessible. Obviously it's mobile friendly and whatnot, but yeah, so we start with the engine.
Very cool.
Hey Ed, what type of projects do you focus on? So if a startup just came to you, are there particular like hardware versus software or physical products? Is that what you focus on, or is it the whole collective?
So there are two sections to this. The first section is that we've recognized that the tooling we're building to help with people who want to run crowdfunds is actually appropriate to any startup. So right now we're very, very open, and just actually how people choose to fund at the end of the runway there is really just the final part. So the crowdfunding bit gets delivered Q1 next year, so people will be able to crowdfund on the platform. So, but for now, yeah, really anything. We're kind of agnostic. I mean, essentially, people need to. What we're doing is taking people through steps. So we have an education platform first. Mm-hmm. That takes you through considerations of your proposition. So have you broken it down? Are you actually creating a solution for a person, or have you just identified a problem and then you're so wedded to your solution that you actually totally forget who it's for and what it's supposed to solve? All of those basic considerations we basically pull through, and ultimately I think within the next few weeks that will just draw through into a business canvas. So those sorts of things that we're trying to help people to consider, and then build out marketing strategies that work for them from there, then measure them, then look at their funnels for them, all of that. Mm-hmm. Really. So we are like dyed-in-the-wool startup people. We love small businesses. We've had a bunch ourselves. So I don't care if somebody comes at the moment when we're not sort of, when it gets to crowdfunding, we'll have different criteria, but still be very, very open. But right now, if somebody wanted to use this first education and build stage of the platform, I don't care if you've got a mobile cat groomers, we'll have a chat, we'll try and help you get the best mobile cat groomers out there.
Sure. What about a book? Have you guys had anybody who tried to crowdfund a book?
So crowdfunding wise, books are great. So there are 4 or 5 different areas in crowdfunding that we're going to be focusing on quite a bit. So there are books. There's
So Ed, one thing that I probably haven't told you, or that Yuri and I haven't really publicly announced, and maybe we'll just say it today. We've been writing a book for the last 6 months.
Right.
Really a book to help all the general masses learn about crypto. And we just kept it contained to some key elements and key messages on various things about what is cryptocurrency, how to spot scams and what have you. But we've done it in such a way to teach people about wallets and exchanges and things to help the masses. But we're going to need to get some help with our funding of our book, getting it sold, maybe completion of some of the editing of the book because it's costly experience. So I don't know. Maybe
I wonder if there's some sort of platform by which you could, fund that sort of thing using like a crowd of people. Maybe
I have no idea. But Ed, if you've got any ideas, that uses Oak coins to enable us to do that, I would be very open to.
I'll certainly have a think about that. Actually, in all seriousness, absolutely count me in. So we will WhatsApp call obviously today at some point, I'm sure.
Wow,
but
that's so exciting. We're going to get like a phone call now as well, Yuri. So yeah, absolutely. Books editors in the ecosystem,
We're thinking about writing our own book, by the way, because there are quite a few.
Yeah, well, you've had some amazing stories you've told us. Now, you also were telling us offline about the exchange listing experience. Maybe we should just mention that we're expecting you to be listed on the 8th of November, 2018, which would be 2 days from now. The question, of course, is it really going to happen? And that's not because there's any question mark about you intending to list it, but actually we're dealing with an exchange called HitBTC, which I sometimes call the Ryanair of exchanges or the Spirit Airlines of exchanges.
It is.
It is. Everything.
Yeah. It is a bit of a pick and mix, unfortunately.
And if anybody from HitBTC, by the way, is listening and wants to defend themselves or just tell us where you guys are going on the exchange, by all means, please do get in touch because we are having a bit of fun and being cheeky, although what you guys are doing to Ed is also kind of cheeky. So Ed,
don't forget this thing isn't actually on the exchange yet. We should be listing on Thursday. There is, I think, if you want to pick an exact day and get it confirmed and everything, then you have to pay an extra fee. For us, we probably want to spend money on other things.
You said they were charging 2.5 extra Bitcoin just to say I want to list on Thursday.
I think it's something like that, yeah. So I think from our point of view, I would rather spend that on back rubs or maybe on something that's actually useful for the company. Or
the dog maybe needs to go and have a nice, spa day.
Anything really like. I mean, guys, just think of the socks, right? Think of the socks that you can get.
Oh my God, we could send a pair of socks to everybody that has an Oak token.
Yeah, every listener. So we could basically, So we're going to we are planning to list on Thursday. We can't absolutely confirm if Thursday is going to be the day. That is in the lap of the exchange gods, but that's certainly the plan. Yeah.
Cool.
Excellent.
Well, that's fantastic. Yuri, any other questions about Acorn Collective or about some of the challenges that they faced before we wrap up? Because I know there's a lot of stuff that ICOs go through. So we always talk about this. So anything else you want to ask?
Yeah, no. Well, so I wonder if you could explain a little bit more because of the fact. So Steve and I both, again, have had experience with crowdfunding on both sides of like Indiegogo and Kickstarter. Just a little bit on the differences that your company is versus the traditional Kickstarter Indiegogo model. Sure. And also, do you work with nonprofits? So if a nonprofit wanted to raise funds for their foundation or their cause, do you also handle that as well?
Yeah, we do. Yeah. So the difference is there are tons of differences really, but we do work with nonprofits firstly. So the idea initially for this was actually Moritz wanted to make it free to do crowdfunding no matter which country you're in. So Kickstarter only operate in like 20 countries, 25 countries, something like that. Right. They're all Western more or less, I think. So the idea was, well, that's not very fair. We should open it up. We should charge. We don't need to charge transaction fees because it's blockchain, so that's like 2.5-3%. And actually, let's eradicate platform fees as well and make our money elsewhere. So that's where we started, and then we started looking at it. We started building in other bits as well that will help people. People think that you put a thing on a platform, project on a platform, and away it goes. That never happens. So you need to be sure that you've got 25-30% of your funding pretty much assured within the first 24-48 hours. There's a lot of other marketing work that goes into making that happen, building profiles, stuff like that. So the failure rates actually on Kickstarter and Indiegogo are around about 80%, which is horrifying. So you've got a really great way of people being able to start any idea and then just build a community, get their first customers. And because of the lack of understanding of how it's done, most of them fail. So what we're doing is we're saying, okay, well, why don't we have an education loop first? So get ready, get in the education loop, start having a look at what you can do to support yourself. Do you understand what you're trying to do? Have you got all the support in place? What about the skills gaps? Do you understand you're going to need to undertake this, that, the other? Then actually let's find a marketplace where they can find people that can actually help them to do that. So you've got a marketplace then that helps you to get ready. Then you can build your profile. Then we've got marketing automation tooling. So you've got somebody in the background that you can say, no, you've got your thing configured wrong. Or no, this is the problem. Your marketing, your video doesn't match up with your promise, doesn't match up with your landing page, doesn't match up with your email sequence. So it can diagnose all of those things for you and just make you more successful. Ultimately, you can get data crunching this stuff as well. Mm-hmm. So our platform really helps you right the way through setup and execution. Whereas Kickstarter and Indiegogo really is much more about, look, if you happen to have that 25% in place already, then fine, stick it up there and maybe some of our guys will buy your thing too.
Sounds good. Awesome. Thank you.
Well, Ed, it's been a real pleasure. Are there any final words or notes you want to share with your Oak community? Shout outs to anybody or anything you want to mention about URLs?
Well, definitely for the Oak community is just everyone. Most of the people obviously in the Oak community, because most of them were pre-sale guys, have been around for a long time. They've had to look at the ups and downs of crypto and sort of patient zero in the ups and downs of crypto, as I see it, at least.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a very long bear market, and there's been a lot of pain and agony for many, many projects. And I think yours in particular, because you started the fundraising in February and you're doing the listing in November, certainly exceeds the typical 2 to 3 month threshold from ICO start to finish.
Yeah, that's right.
Listing. So but respect to you guys for actually holding your ground and waiting, because I think we've turned the corner here and we're kind of heading into the next round of an upward market. So well done for being patient. I know it's been hard for the community, I'm sure.
It has, yeah. So they've really, by and large, really stuck with us. I think they like the project. I think from our point of view, we're punchy. So we're going to, from our point of view, it's building a sustainable thing. So I thank them I just want to thank them for that, and look forward to seeing more and more of the platform over the next few months as we continue to build it out, basically. So I hope everyone's glad that we've listed, and thanks a lot, I suppose, is the main message. And obviously thank you guys for inviting me on. It's been good fun.
Well, it's a real pleasure, because I mean, it's really important for us to hear what the journey has been like, and it's great. Yeah. So do you want to just give everybody, quickly, for our listeners on Spotify and Apple, just the URLs where they can find you? So if they want to check you guys out, how do they get in touch? How do they, if they've got a project they want to fund, or they want to just find out more about you, where they can find you? Yeah,
sure. So all the ICO related stuff is on aco.ai, but the fun's all happening over at acornhub.ai, which is where we're building out the member area. We're slotting in the analytics platform and all of that sort of stuff. So they can check that out. They can get in touch with us if they've got an idea or a project they want to talk about. Then shoot a message across.
Perfect. That's great. Thank you so much, Ed. It's been a real pleasure. Thanks, everybody, for listening in today to the Coin Chat with Steve Good, Yuri Cataldo, and today's special guest, Ed Lobbett from the Acorn Collective. To the moon. Until next time.